right, let's go to Marshall, Texas and get some LED lights and some chain to hang them. I've already got that project started, and it's gonna look nice when I get them hung up right above the buffers. See you at Lowe's. Boy, do I like having Lowe's to myself. I was the only person in there, and I got what I needed. All right, let's go home and put some lights up. It's still dark 30, but let's go have a cup of coffee and take a breathing treatment, and we'll go put these lights up. Doggone it, I meant to get gas. Shoot. Yeah, I'm gonna drink my coffee and then go get gas, because I hate leaving my truck this empty. I mean, I'm on empty. Or eighth of a tank anyway. God, what an unbelievable city road. All right, I'm gonna hang some lights over these buffers, and here's what I got. 8-foot piece of plywood, and it's not the regular plywood, it's that maple veneer. It's just like this. This stuff, this is not coming apart here. That's not regular plywood. And this is some of the same stuff, only this is a pine veneer and that's a maple veneer. So anyway, I just had this left over from a piece. What did I make? I think I made my bench in the garage out of it. So here's what I did. I got some screw eyes, and I've got some chain. I've got some in the middle and some at the end, and I have one, two, 3 hooks in the ceiling, 29 inches out from the wall. And on the underneath of this, I'll be screwing those lights. Let me get them out of the box. I don't know how they're going to go on yet. And then I'm going to wire, when I get this whole thing mounted up here, I'm going to wire it up to that light there, right there, that box. So let me get these out and see how I'm going to attach these to this plywood. Well, I don't have the middle one hooked yet. But I'm thinking this is probably going to be too low. Too low, yeah. I think I'm going to go up, about 6 inches. And if I had known that these lights hung up this way, you know, if I had known that they didn't screw to the ceiling, they came with chains, I probably just would have hung them from the ceiling by their own chains, but I'd already had this made up. So, and this is going to allow me to connect these 2 wires together and then run my Romex up to the main switch. So, yeah, I'll tell you what, I think, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and, here's the reason I want to raise it up a little bit, because, here, I'll show you. This is what will happen. So, what would you say that is? About 6 inches, probably. I'm going to raise it up just above my head, because I'll be smashing into it. All right, I got my wire run. I got this raised up. That'll be just fine right there. Now, I'm going to connect them wires on that end, turn this light switch off, and connect my wires up here. But first, you know what time it is. Let's get a cup of coffee. Terrell, where are you, Terrell? Let's see you over there, hiding out on the workbench. Okay. We'll be back after the coffee break. You know, normally my friends are shocked when they find out how little I know about electricity. Shocked. Get it? Shocked. Hello? Is this thing on? Well, there we go. That is good and bright, huh? Yes, sir. That's going to work just fine. Okay. All right, back to knife making. I've got I'll show you the dinner skinner with the ironwood. I got to work on it just a little bit. I have a spot on the spine that I didn't sand well enough. So I'm gonna have to go back and sand that, starting at about, I think, 400, and bring it back up to 800, and then hit it with a buffer. Again, no big deal, but I'm not gonna let it leave with an obvious blemish that I can fix quickly. So I'm fixing to go do that, and then probably gonna drink me a soda and start making sheaths for the 2 knives I'm finished with. Okay. Let's get a backup shot of this. I gotta pick up and put my stuff away here, but okay. That's exactly what I wanted. And whenever I get my water stone sharpener, I'm gonna put it right in the middle here so I can go all the way around it in my chair. I'll build a table low enough for me to sit here and use the sharpener. Alrighty, that project, the buffing room, is complete. I am working on a swamp rat, and my intention is to put a mirror polish on it and then blue it. And after, oh boy. After I heat treated it, I noticed a slight warp. So, I'm going to have to give it a few more minutes. I noticed a slight warp, so I clamped it in between 2 pieces of metal, and I tempered it at 425, right? 425? Yeah, for about an hour and a half. And as soon as it cools down, I'm going to take it out and see if that slight warp came out of it. It's barely noticeable. We'll see in a minute. Well, it's gone. Boy, I tell you, the internet is an amazing thing. Absolutely amazing. And I got that tip off one of the many knife channels I subscribe to, or else if I could remember which one it was, I'd leave a link. But thank you to one of the knife channels that I subscribe to that fixed the bow. Fantastic. Well, I saved a knife. Now I know how to do it. Well, I tell you what, this knife making thing, every day I learn something new. It's just been a blast. Little things like that just really I don't know, not excite me, but yeah, I get excited learning new stuff, especially little tips like that. Who'd have thunk? But it worked. So I went from having a blade that I was probably gonna have to build and just give away to a blade that I can continue putting a lot of effort into, you know, and try and sell it. And I was gonna use this walnut, but I have this. I'll show you. Let me get it. I'll show you. Never mind. It's called Dimolux, and it's an interesting wood. It's multicolored, and as you sand this, different colors show through. But it's just not quite wide enough to work here, to use here. So I'll stick with my original plan. I'm going with walnut with black G10 liners, black pins, but it's going to be super mirror polished in my new buffing room, and it's going to be gun blue. So, and for the other two knives, the Cato and the dinner skinner for Mark and David, they're done. They're in my leather shop. Today I actually cut the leather out. Today's Tuesday. Tomorrow, Wednesday, I'll make those sheaths, both of them. And see, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'll probably ship them Monday. Friday will be too early for them to dry out. So, but Monday. I'll ship them. So anyway, that's it. That's my day. It's about 4 o'clock. I'm going to go feed my cat and go home and feed my dogs. See ya. Well, I spoke too soon. The warp came out of it on the back side, but the warp is still in it on the blade. Let me see if I can get this just right. See the warp? So here's what I've decided. Get up, Breezy. Get down, buddy. There you go. This is 1/8 inch. I should not make these big knives out of 1/8 inch. I actually cut this out a long time ago. And after I cut this out, I decided that from now on, the only things I'm cutting out of 1/8 inch, using 1/8 inch for, is my dinner skinners. And everything from a swamp rat on up is going to be 7/32. For this very reason, it's just too thin to make a knife this big out of 1/8 inch. And then on top of that, I did a full grind on it, which took me, my God, it took me an entire day to sand all the grind lines out of this, because when I cut this out, I was using 40 grit for my initial bevel, and I was doing everything else by hand. And this was one of them. Well, that's a shame. Yeah, I could bend it out, but being as how this is an 1/8 inch thick knife, I'm not going to bother. So, I mean, someday I may cut the back off this and make a little stubby, come up here past the bend and make a little stubby neck knife out of it. I'm not going to throw it away. It's a nice little learning experience is what that is. But, okay, so I'm going to start on the Cato, and let me see if I can use that Dymolux like I was hoping. Yes, I can. It's thick enough. Yep. So, when I'm done with the sheaths, I don't have any. Nobody's wanting a knife, so I'm going to make a Cato with this Dymolux, and I'm going to high polish it and then blue it. Okay. Now, see you tomorrow.